Let's start. That's my screen. Um, that's my screen for Vbox. I've updated my Vbox to um, 4.3.12. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you check here, okay, it's grayed out now because I'm actually kind of installing. Okay, that's my Windows 8.1, and like I said, if you're running a 32-bit, you select what? 32-bit. Is that not correct? If you're running 64-bit, you select what? 64-bit. I'm not too sure why server 2012 R2 is not here, but I think the only option they have for server 2012 is 64-bit, and I did mention that earlier on as well. Is that not correct? So I'm taking 64-bit, so I'm clicking continue. You can see that by default it says 2 gig of RAM. Is that not correct? So it's not my fault that it's 2 gig. It's Microsoft. It's recommended that you should run at least 2 gig if you're running a 64-bit. Is that not correct? Okay. Let's go back to 32-bit and we'll click continue. Now if you notice in 32-bit, what is the amount? 1 gig. So those of you running 32-bit, definitely you can manage with 1 gig. Are we together? So in this case, I'm taking 64-bit. Yeah. So this is kind of a template that has already been created. I'll talk about this when I get to 70-414, where Microsoft allows you to be able to create your own virtual machine templates. Then users can create virtual machine based on that template. Because this is more or less like a template that's already designed by Vbox. That's why it's automated. Because when you're installing a 64-bit, it automatically gives you what? 2 gig of RAM. Is that not correct? Now you notice that we can actually adjust it. Is that not correct? Yes, but in some cases, like what we're going to be learning later on in server 2012, I can only just limit you to 2 gig. So even though you try to customize it or try to increase it, it won't be possible. It will just give you that allocation. So your limit will now be like 4 megabytes to 2 gig. Are we together? So I'm going to click continue. By default, Microsoft recommends you to put what? 25 gig. So in this case, I'm going to create what? I'm going to create 35. So I'm going to click create a new one. Now, if, for example, like I've always said it every time I come to this part, if you already have a hard drive that is running Windows 8 operating system installed, you don't need to go through the stress of what? Creating a drive. You just come here and say use the existing what? Drive. Then you can come here and select what? The VHD. Okay? Or VDI, which is for VirtualBox. So I'm going to select create a new one. Of course, the wizard is going to come up. Like some of you always make the same mistake and you keep making the same mistake. We take VDI because VDI is a VirtualBox based virtual hard drive. So it's more compatible in terms of working with it. Now, if you're going to be working with a Windows operating system, it's better to create what? A VHD. It will still be supported on this platform. But since we're going to be using VirtualBox throughout, I always advise you to take what? VDI. So I'm going to take VDI. I'm going to click continue. Of course, I'm going to take fix, not dynamic expanding.
Sir, can you please just explain to people what dynamic?
Look at it. It says here, a dynamically allocated hard drive file will only use on your physical drive as it lifts up. Now, what does that grammar means? The space that is available, how many space do you need? You need 16 gig, right? According to Microsoft. But when you notice, after installing Windows, you probably have taken only a quarter of that, which is about, let's say, 4 or 3 gig of space. Dynamic expanding means that you have 25 gig, but on your computer, it will only show available 4 gig, which is currently used. As you put content, it what? Expands. That is why it says up to a fixed size, meaning as you put content, it's like a band, it's like an elastic band. The more you put, the more it stretches. You put, it stretches until it gets to its limit. It can no longer stretch. The next thing you to do what? It will explode. So that is what dynamic expanding means. So it dynamically allocates drive space when contents are what? Added.
You remove it.
Yes, you can delete. Of course, if you delete, it shrinks. It's like a band. When you remove the load, what happens? It comes closer. The more you put, the more it what? Expands.
But But it saves data on my physical hard drive.
Yeah, it's you're up to the it's a physical drive. It's a physical drive. It's just that the format is just dynamically allocated. The size is not fixed. When you just install, you have 35 gig. No, when you install, you don't see 35. You only see the allocated amount of size. It just expands where there's allocated size. So it gives you that ability to be able to economize on your space, so that unnecessary things will not get into your computer system. Are we together?
Yep.
Though if you notice there, it says although it will only shrink again automatically when the space is what? Freed. Do you get me? So if it's already used up to 35, the moment you delete things, it comes back again to 20.
So you can't decide with the size.
Yeah. So that is why it only decides based on content. As you add content, it expands. You reduce content, it shrinks. Okay. Let's take fix in this case, and we click on what? Continue. I'm going to allow the defaults, and I'm going to come here and put what? 35. And I'm going to click on create. So the wizard is going to come up now. And after it's finished creating, the next step, excuse me, the next step I'm going to be doing is to set up add the ISO image. Now, I believe none of you have started installing yet. Okay, what you need to do, I will be showing you on the presentation as well. You need to select the option for solid state drive. So you go to the hard drive properties, then you select the solid state drive. Then you go to the properties of the computer system, which is your BIOS now in this case. Your system properties, you change the BIOS to your DVD. The next one becomes your what? Your hard drive. Are we together? So I'll just leave this to run through. In the next 7 minutes, it should be through. Then we can, after we've done with the configuration, we just go ahead and do the installation. Just like the way you installed Windows 7. That's the same way we install Windows 8. The next step we'll be doing after now, it's probably to customize Windows image. Okay? How to customize it, how to edit it. All these are steps. The rest of the practicals we're going to be doing later on. Are we together? Because the whole concept of this first objective is to learn how to install Windows. Of course, how to upgrade Windows. We're not going to be doing the upgrade because of the time frame. So, but I'm going to give you I'm going to show you a demonstration on how Windows is updated. Then, apart from that, we're going to also be talking about migration. That's the most important thing we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing migration of users. Okay. So, what I need you to do as an assignment to take home today is to set up a Windows 7 operating system. Are we together? Tomorrow morning when you come in, I want to make sure you have Windows 7 operating system installed. Are we together? You're going to create whatever user you like. We're going to use that to migrate. Now, your Windows 7 computer system, as of tomorrow, we'll take it as an old computer system. Why this one, the Windows 8 we're installing today, we're going to take it as a new computer we are actually what? Installing. So this is like a new computer we're buying right now. You can finish your installation when you get home tomorrow.
The requirements for the Windows 7.
Use all default settings. Use default settings. For Windows, yeah. Windows use default settings.
Tomorrow we should have two machines.
Yeah,
Windows 8,
definitely.
Windows
Yeah.
7.
Yes. So, please, can you listen? Make sure you have your Windows 7 installed tomorrow. Create a user account. We're going to be tweaking a lot of things on the Windows computers, like we're going to change the desktop background. Okay, we're going to download some we're going to put some pictures that it's not there by default. Are you getting me? Then we're going to add content. We're going to put some content on the movies. We're going to just add content on the computer. Then migrate. We're going to now migrate the user account. Are we together? After migrating the user, we're going to go back to Windows 8. Now, Windows 8 will currently have an account, but we're going to migrate this user to the new computer, and you will see for the first time that the same content and the same icons, the same shortcut, the same settings you had in 7 will automatically be replicated on Windows 8. The only thing that will change is just the environment, the startup screen. Your desktop on Windows 7 will look exactly the same desktop on Windows 8. Are we together? That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Okay? So I'm going to stop here now. Just going to wait for my virtual machine to finish. Then when the afternoon students come, I'll just proceed with the installation of Windows 8.